which I've been forgetting to do. So this is the Wednesday, June 11th meeting of the Shutesbury Council on Aging. And it is called to order at what time does anybody have?
5:35.
5:35. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so Jeanette and Rich, you know one another now. Jessica and Rich know one another from before.
Yep.
And Mary Jo, when you become a physical presence, you can actually see Rich. So we need to have a roll call of members, official members of the committee. So Mary Jo.
I'm here.
Okay. Jeanette?
Here. We usually go in alphabetical order, don't we?
We do go alphabetical order. So, and Jessica
Mickey's here.
Jessica's here. Millinger's here, and we have a guest who does not have to announce himself with the show.
Okay. And Stockton is here.
Yes, everybody's here. Stockton is here. Okay, first item on the agenda is the financial report. Jessica, what do you have for us?
I have that we spent no money.
We spent no money?
We spent no money. The book care by nurses never sent us an invoice, and we never got the invoice for the donation to Village Neighbors, which he said he sent out through QuickBooks, but I never saw it come in.
Okay.
Do you want me to remind him to do that again? Because I'm going to be speaking with him tomorrow.
Yes,
he
if
said
you are, that would be good. Thank you, Jeanette.
He said he was gonna send it out, and then I never saw it come in, and I don't think I missed it because I was looking for it.
Okay. He usually if he says he's going to send something, it's usually 2 minutes later. So I definitely want to check on that.
Right. So we have the $2,795 in our grant account. In the donation account, we have 740, and in the townwide budget is 3942 still.
3942.
Yep.
So Rich, those are what we get from the grant from the donations, which actually tends to be primarily people writing checks for the foot clinic, I think. Is that true, Jessica?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay. The donation fund is primarily people writing checks to the for the foot clinic. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And we have a grant. We get a line item we're a line item on the town budget. We get $200 a year. And I have a little bit better perspective on that because I was comparing how much money we get from the towns with other COA direct chairs at the last meeting of the grant group. And it was pointed out to me that I realized that, for instance, New Salem gets a lot more money than we do, but that goes for their renting the church property, using the church space. And the town does not charge us for the use of the space that we have. Plus, we have the use of the kitchen, and New Salem has no access to a kitchen now. Plus, they pay utilities. So that we do get more from the town than just $200 in cash to spend. And it probably would be a good idea, do you think, Jessica, for us to get a ballpark figure for what that represents and what the town is providing for us?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeanette.
Do we have were you privy to numbers as to what New Salem was having to pay for those various things at the church? And
well, I do have a number in my head, but I'm not sure it's right. So
okay.
Meeting on next Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday, is supposed to be for the COAs and Village Neighbors. So I'm focused on that. And one of the things I'm planning to do is ask again how much people contributed.
Okay. So can I just ask for a clarification on that? I think you said that the town of New Salem gives their COA more money than Shutesbury does
Yes,
because they know they have to pay for these outside rentals. Is that correct?
they're using the church
Okay.
space. And they have to pay.
It's different than this, it's different than the state funding or wherever we get our
Right,
money.
this is the local funding that we
Okay.
get $200 and they get considerably more.
Okay.
Okay, if it's okay with everybody, I thought I would save the library director's request for funding for passes till to unanticipated business. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. I'm realizing that I printed the minutes, but I didn't print the agenda. So I would have liked to have helped you out a little bit with the agenda if you should like me to, but I don't have it. So let's skip that tonight and I'll be helpful another night.
Oh, that'd be wonderful, Jeanette. And the agenda you can find if you go when you
Well, you sent it to us. It's just that somehow I printed the minutes.
No, I actually don't usually send you the agenda because the agenda
I
on
didn't see
the
that.
town site.
Okay. Okay. I usually handwrite it out so to not print it. So, and I just thought I had printed the minutes. I printed the minutes. Anyway, doesn't matter. Sorry.
Okay. So I think our next item is a foot clinic business, and primarily if the letter to that I drafted to the new foot care nurse is acceptable, because ideally it'd be great. I'm assuming this is like a contract, really. It's a letter of agreement, and that we would both sign it and each have a copy with both signatures. Does that make sense to people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, will there be any charge will you still be getting donations like you have in the past with the other foot care person?
Well,
Like they charge $55 or whatever for an hour for theirs, and this one's only 20.
right.
Will we eat that?
I suspect we won't be getting donations anymore because
Okay.
we're going to be asking people to contribute $10,
Okay.
to which, a lot of people are doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope it won't be a challenge. And so we may not have more in the,
Okay.
Yeah.
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 But in terms of putting that money away that's going into sort of the donation account, we're asking for a contribution, but it's really up to the person if they can actually donate contribution.
Yes. Yes.
And some may do more, and some may do a little bit less, and we have to be okay with that.
Okay.
And the one thing I wanted to be sure to know you are okay about in the letter, which we probably should be discussing, is I added a sentence or two about if someone did not show up, which is very unusual according to what Susan said, that we would ask them to recompense us, to give us the $10 later. But if they didn't, we would still ensure that she got her 20 for a vacant space. But mostly from what Susan said, Shutesbury people are really good at letting her know ahead of time if they can't make something. So they can't make an appointment, so she goes to her wait list.
Exactly. The waiting list has been very, very good. I've been on it. And
yeah, Rich, if you didn't figure this out, Rich is a foot clinic client.
Nice.
So he knows from the inside.
He sure does.
I have no agenda for anything, just listening.
Well, we've worked really hard we pushed an agenda already and got this change. So
Okay.
it's and thank you to everybody, but especially to Susan at the finish line here doing this contract and everything else.
Yes.
So does the letter look like it needs any further changes?
I had read it a few weeks ago and it seemed okay to me.
Okay.
But then I missed a date this week, as you know, on the big on the press release. So I don't know if I'm the best person to check it
I
off.
thought it covered everything.
Oh, good.
Yes, even if you miss an appointment and you can't, that seems good to do.
Okay.
they shouldn't have a problem with that.
Good. Good.
Thought it was good.
Okay, good. So that I will go ahead and send it to her. And when we should get it all squared away, certainly a signatures exchanged before she starts in July.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I don't know if I missed it or just forgot, but have we canceled with Foot Care for Nurses?
Yes. This month is their last.
Okay,
go with
and
us.
that went okay?
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah. there was no difficulty at all.
No,
So
no.
Rich, we're not getting Nan next month, in this month, because she's already, she's taken a leave for the summer, and I think she's not going to come back. And I asked her about when she set up her own private business, what she was going to be charging.
Right.
She said $90 to $100 for a session.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think we're about ready to ask Nan to come back, even though
No.
I personally like Nan a lot. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Who's going to be doing the scheduling that Susan's doing now?
Well,
Who's doing now?
May was Susan's last month. I was
Mhm.
sitting in to really get the drill. So I'm going to be doing it temporarily.
Okay.
So I'll be there next week. And it's on my agenda to contact the Board of Health and see if they have any suggestions. I realized in reading the instructions for town announce that you can ask for assistance by a town announce, but I'm not really sure I want to just put a notice out there for anybody to
Correct.
respond to.
Hmm.
So I think it's been suggested in the past, Rich, that I ask somebody who is themselves a client. But you wouldn't have the time possibility, I would think, would you?
Maybe. Summertime's gone. I got things I'm doing.
Well, if you
She's
could,
already booked out. She's already booked out till the end of July anyway, because I have an appointment in July.
right, you do.
So,
But
right,
I mean, yes, but I'll be booking in July for the next,
August, yeah.
because we're going to keep going. So think about it, because if you
Okay.
do it some of the time, then I don't object to doing, I kind of enjoyed getting to meet the people up there.
Mhm.
I don't mind doing it occasionally, and I can still look around for somebody who wants to do it. It's hard to ask somebody for 4 hours plus regularly once a month with that's a volunteer job.
Right. Yeah. And I won't be driving in town anymore because 5 Star lost the contract for the school.
Uh-huh.
So they're coming in with Kismiskus up in Gill.
Oh,
So
That's a bummer.
yes. Yes. So, but I already I'm still with 5 Star, but I'm gonna be going to Piney Valley Performing Arts. They have routes for that, so. But it's kind of hard to commit right now because it's near the end of the year and I'm burnt out.
yeah, I can.
To be honest. So,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm happy doing it for the next couple months.
okay.
Yeah, and then we can see, and I'll
See
still
what's going on.
board
Mhm.
if there's any suggestions. Okay. So if that's the foot clinic item, the next item is whether we want to put out an issue of the Gazette in fiscal year 25, which is coming to an end at the end of this month. What do we think?
I think we should wait. We have so much going on. But I do have the numbers, I think. I looked through my pile. And if we do, I think if we do like a 2-page, um, gosh, where did the other part of it go? Do you remember the one where Martha had put the inside, the file of helpfulness, kind of? I can't remember. It wasn't file of life. Oh gosh, where is it? right here. Yeah, she had that piece, the create your own peace of mind binder.
Uh-huh.
I think if it's just maybe either, one big 11 by 17, or maybe even 2 pages, the potential that he seems to think that we send it to about 288 households. Does that sound at all right?
Well, we send it to about half the town.
Okay. So that doesn't seem like
At
enough.
least, yeah, sounds
Uh,
like it should be more.
But if we did say that was maybe some people had asked for it electronically, it looks like it would be about 38 cents each. Oh, times 500, times 500. So it comes to, that's where I was doing it wrong. So the it would be about $288, I believe, to print it and process it. And then another, I think 190 for postage, which brings us to round about 500 to send it out, to produce it and send it out, unless those numbers are incorrect, but I don't know if they are, because I have a bill here from invoice 662 22262, and it was where I think we had the 3 double-sided pages, and everything cost, the printing, the postage, it was about 660. So I would ascertain that potentially if it's only 2 pages instead of 3, that might make a difference in the cost, bringing it down to about 500.
Okay, that's helpful, Jeanette. Thank you. So we're talking about the 2 pages, it would be one full sheet of 4 pages, right? In
It would be 2 separate
Two of
big
them.
pages,
So it'd be 8 pages,
folded in half,
right?
and then it gets folded over.
Right. So you basically have the 7.5 pages of text
Yeah,
and address.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know that we're going to want that long. We were talking about sending out a trifold.
We were. I mean, we could do just maybe 1 page, like a big double, and then trifold that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But let's say it's in the ballpark of about $500.
Okay, max. Yeah, hopefully max. Yeah, I think we need to think about, do we want this as a summer project to send out either in the fall, in September?
That's what we want.
And that's what we could be thinking about what we want to put in it and how much material we have to put in it, because I guess I'm in favor of starting out small. Yeah. Okay. So we'll think about that.
It would be really nice, just to suggest one thing, to do the NDS group that you're so involved with, the Village Neighbors Council on Aging, collaborations. Be real nice to do something on that, I think.
Oh,
And then
definitely.
the new foot care program, perhaps,
Yep.
highlighting the change. Anyway, we don't have to go
And the
deep.
community lunch. Yep. And Joan Green is going to try again to start her dance after lunch on in September.
Oh, okay.
So we will have, and by then we will have several. We really would have a grasp probably on the programming that NDS is going to do by August. We should, I would hope. So there'd be enough. Yeah. So let's collect material in the next couple of meetings. In the next meeting anyway, and think about organizing it in August and putting it out in September. Does that seem doable? Jessica, what do you think?
I think so.
Okay. Mary Jo, you think seems doable?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, so that's our
We
goal.
still don't have anybody to do it though. Are we just gonna try to figure it out ourselves?
Well, we could still ask Jen to help. Mary Jo's friend. If she
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Or if that doesn't work out, the person who helps with the one thing that's paid for at Village Neighbors, because it's all volunteer except for this one thing, the woman who did the trifold, that showed the different ways you could get help. I think Shutesbury did it, was Dina
Yeah.
Polisi. You know, she's
Right.
not extortionist at all. We could always ask her how to go, even if just to get some advice.
Information, yeah.
Yeah, and pay her a little bit to sort of set us up, and then we run with it.
Yeah,
Because
she
at a
did a good
certain
job with
point,
that.
once it's laid out, it's really just plunking stuff in.
Yeah.
It's the how to get to that point with what everybody has on their computer.
Yeah.
I use Google Docs, and I would have to look and see if there's anything that would approximate anything.
Yeah. I've done a couple of newsletters in my day, but things change so much that it's, not something I'm willing to try to take on. I've got enough anyway. But Constant Contact, the league puts out its bulletin via Constant Contact, which is an easy way to go.
Who said they use that?
The League of Women Voters uses Constant
Because
Contact.
I use that too, so I should take a good look at that then. Because if it's really like, if there's a layout and it's just plugging in content and you guys farm the content in, that doesn't sound too much.
That's not too much. Of course, this is
That's
for an electronic newsletter, and we're doing one
Right.
that's mostly paper.
Well, you can go to print from it, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you can.
So there it
That's
is.
that's what we did with the brochure. We just kind of took pieces and parts and just fit them in there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
brochure, is that,
The trifold that the woman did for Village Neighbors.
oh, so we
Remember-
didn't contact her to change it for Shutesbury. We just did it ourselves?
Yeah, we chose what content it was, and then it got sent to her, and she put it in a brochure.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because it had
Right.
been laid out for another town, and then we kind of decided to do it. I didn't know if we had compensated her or not.
We definitely compensated her.
Terrific. I would hope so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry to be dense, but I don't know what brochure you're talking about.
It's the one that highlights what the COA does, what Village Neighbors can do, what was it? Pat, that was the third piece.
The little piece.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we'll pursue that as we go. Jeanette, community lunch report, just really briefly. It was a smaller group. I think ended up being about 8 people. Rich, do you remember? Prof?
About that,
Yeah, about that.
yeah,
'Cause
about the one table,
some of the usual people weren't available.
right.
And Joan decided she wouldn't start the dance after lunch because only a couple of people wanted to stay after, and she needs more sort of audience participation to really get into the spirit of leading a dance class.
And the day she suggested that, we had 2 full tables that day,
Yes,
that Tuesday,
yes, and we just had one full
and we
table.
just had one, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so that's the report on community lunch. Jeanette, would you be willing to talk a little bit about the first program of dementia-friendly activities?
Oh yeah, sure, I would be happy to. We just produced a press release which has gone out to I wish I had the press release on me. Do I?
Don't worry. The flyer is probably more interesting to us.
Right. I wish I had the flyer. We produced a flyer that has information about the two. They're really the same event, but we're just running it at different times at different libraries to, create a little bit more opportunity for an audience. The first one is on June 17th. Oh, I think it's 3:30 to 4:30, and then people can stay and ask questions from 4:30 to 5. Refreshments will be served. That will be held at the Leverett Library. I'll talk about content after. And then the second one, which again is the same, it will be held at the New Salem Library
On the 24th.
on the 24th. I think it's 7 o'clock. again, 7 to 8 will be the content or the presentation, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions. So this came again from Village Neighbors was reaching out to the 4 councils on aging, trying to create better communication between all of us. We had been having topic groups, and at one point, we were given the opportunity to apply for grants through LifePath. And those grants are for for support of all different kinds. We're trying to make it a little bit open-ended so that it's people can ask for what they want if they so want it. And we sent out a postcard to every household in our 4 towns, Leverett, New Salem, Shutesbury, and Wendell, announcing this in a postcard that if you're concerned about memory loss, or you know somebody who needs help, or you're a caregiver, or just someone in the town who would be interested in helping, that we have this opportunity to support you between the 4 councils on aging and Village Neighbors in, you know, the difficulty that life can be like when you're or someone you love is living with dementia. So our response rate was not huge. And what we've heard a little bit is that, you know, it's a little bit private and people want to stay confidential. So what we decided to do as our first events were to come at it with a more positive spin. And we're doing the 2 events. The one event actually is optimizing brain health. Things you can do, things that, you know, information. We've been also setting up resources, getting the libraries involved so they have books on this topic. And, you know, our first event is coming up, and we'll see how it goes. Did I miss anything, Susan? Because you're very invested in this group. I just want to mention the 4 COAs, the sort of buy-in is the only real word I can think of, even though it's a little tawdry, into this group has just been really inspiring.
Yeah, and it's been a great experience working with the other COA chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you hit the highlights, Jeanette. Does anybody have any questions to ask?
It's open to all. So if you knew someone in, you know, Springfield who is interested in the topic, they could come. You know, it's completely open. So, you know, if you know of anybody, let them know.
Okay.
And because the first topic is optimizing brain health, it's basically anybody that's thinking about keeping their brain is in good shape as possible as you age is really of interest. Yeah, I'm bringing a friend of mine from North Amherst who is worried about the state the state of her brain. And I said to her, you know, I think it's really very normal what you're going through, but she needs to hear from somebody with expertise that she will trust better than she trusts a friend.
And I think once it gets going, it'll bring more people in.
Oh, I hope so. Thank
Yeah.
you for that those words of affirmation, because it's, you know, we're putting so much into this, and then it's kind of like, hello. But you know, they're also going to touch on the topic of, like, you know, what the aging brain actually, there's like good things about the aging brain sometimes as opposed to younger brains, you know, the idea of the wisdom of the older people. There are aspects to that. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Sure.
So the next item on the agenda was the results of the lack of me getting a warrant on the bylaw that would decrease the number of members of the COA to 5. That's our goal, which was the original number that got changed to 7 many years ago under David Dan, when things were really active, when Village Neighbors was getting going. So I don't know why the article wasn't on the warrant, but I'm going to talk to all the people who would know and can help me. And since there's going to be a special town meeting, I think, from the sounds of it, then I would try to get the warrant on the special town meeting. But up till that happens, unless we can draft someone to be our fifth member, we all need to show up to have a quorum.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm really sorry about that, because I had hopes that we would, after the town meeting, we would be able to say that 3 was a quorum.
Right. Breathe a little easier.
Yes, which would be a little easier.
Hmm.
But sooner or later, we're gonna get that reduction to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the end, we can still do some business and talk and discuss and keep moving as a COA. We just can't really vote on anything.
Well, I was reading around about quorums, and I'm not really sure that's true, even though we can, I'm planning to fly with it. I don't know whether they pull the plug on us. I doubt it.
Right.
I'm hoping what you say is true.
Hmm.
Yeah, because of my niece told me that from her experience with school boards, that if you passed things in a meeting without a quorum, a meeting that did have a quorum could go back to those items and pass them again and get them accepted that way.
Okay, so if we had less people and we still like tried to do some, you're saying we wouldn't try to pass anything. We would just have the meeting and discuss, and then perhaps the next meeting we would be able to actually act on it.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm thinking of is the meetings we had in the winter when we didn't have a quorum, and we didn't know that was a problem because we didn't realize a quorum was 4. And we did pass things, and it would be nice to be able to go back and make those official, although, yeah.
All right, well, nobody's been watching our recording and coming after us, so we'll
No,
just.
it has, because I have been getting to record.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So tonight I'm recording.
But they could certainly look at our minutes and
Yep.
see, whoa, there was
They
only
would have to look at our minutes and count.
two
know.
people making all the decisions.
Well, you
Yeah.
would think that it would be reasonable with the amount that was before the Friends of, I can't think of what the name of them are. I should go to that brain thing for you. What's the one, the other group in Shutesbury that does Shutesbury, Leverett, Wendell, the Friends of
Oh, Village Neighbors?
the Village Neighbors.
Village Neighbors, yeah.
Before they started,
Mhm.
you guys were at 7
Yes.
because there wasn't, and then they end up coming in. You should be able to go back to 5.
Yes.
Logic, I mean, that's what it should. So tell me the name of that group again.
Well, Jeanette is very active in that group, the Village Neighbors.
Village Neighbors. And Rich, if you ever want to talk about becoming a member or a volunteer, I can talk to you. I'll bend your ear one of these lunches.
I get I get correspondence from that.
Okay, great.
Jesse,
One thing about that, you had sent the Dalton bylaws,
yeah,
and I was looking at them, and theirs says members 7 to 11 members. Could we do like a 5 to 7 members? So we can
Well-
leave that open, or I don't know the legalities of that.
every COA has its own bylaws. So
Right,
That-
but they were saying that their members, they have 7 to 11 members. So
I see what you
do
mean.
we have to stay at 5, or can we say 5 to 7
I-
members? So in case somebody else wants to join
Yeah.
us, and then we're like, well, we already have 5. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Where,
I understand what you're saying, and that's a really good idea.
that's what I was thinking, because I thought that, because if we do have a 6th person, we don't want to turn them away.
Definitely.
Right. Good idea.
Yeah, that's what we have for Village Neighbors as well. It's that we have a window. A window is a
Right.
good idea.
Okay.
But the lower the window is better since we are a little bit abbreviated.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Is that okay? Can I move on to the next topic?
Absolutely.
Next topic says co-chair. I would like to ask Jessica to be the co-chair, because this is a lot to deal with. And I have been consulting with her up to now, sort of illegally, because of open meeting law and because there are only four of us. Two is not a proper group to talk together.
Mhm.
But I think if she's my co-chair, if we're co-chairs, I could.
And does she know that you're wanting to do this, or has she just disappeared?
I'm here. Does it not
Good.
show me?
Asked.
I see your name.
Oh, you don't see my face?
Nope.
Oh, I can see it.
So
We-
I think that
You're-
sounds like a wonderful idea. Are you receptive to that, Jessica? And see the
Yeah, she asked me and I told her that I would be honored to co-chair and do the treasury at the same time.
That's great. So do we have a
It kind of goes,
vote her in?
hand in hand anyway. You
Yeah.
know,
So do we want to make a motion to to vote her in? How does that happen, Susan? I don't remember.
I think a motion is a great idea.
Okay, so I make a motion that Jessica Makepeace, who is willing and more than capable, join Susan Millinger at work at being co-chairs together. Thus, yeah. How's that? Too
I
That's-
complicated?
second that.
That sounds fine. Is there a second to the motion?
Yes.
Seconded? Okay, we can now discuss it, if you'd like to discuss it. Any discussion? Then we go on to the vote. All in favor of the motion to make Jessica co-chair, to have two chairs, co-chairs?
We have to go through it one by one, correct?
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
Mary
Right.
Jo goes first.
Yeah.
Mary
Yeah. Mary Jo Johnson, aye.
Jessica,
make peace I.
Billinger, aye.
And Stockton, I. And thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks a lot, Jessica.
We just
So-
have to get together and figure out how that's gonna look.
Sorry?
I said, we'll have to get together and see how it's gonna look and who's gonna do what.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. But I think we can do that either on the phone or by Zoom or just
Yeah.
getting there somewhere. Yeah.
And now it won't be illegal. What's next on the agenda, Susan?
Update on the digital equity grant, which is going to be really quick because I just wanted to tell you that we are at the point now that we don't know whether digital equity grant will actually survive cutting. But Gail Huntress has sent in the application, and the her application included classes, a series of 5 classes by the woman whose name I am temporarily blanking on, who led our computer classes last year and was very satisfactory with everybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So-
great.
And even if she did get the grant, Gail said nothing would happen before the late fall or the winter. So it wouldn't be something we would be needing to worry about. Rich, this is a program on digital equity. It's primarily aimed at rural folks and seniors.
Mhm.
It includes getting people equipment, but also having an individual come to your house and help you figure out how to do things on your digital device.
Wasn't there a woman at the luncheon not this past one, the one before, that got up and said that she wanted to help people, and Sandy was one.
Was that Gail with spreadsheets? Or am I
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is.
company?
Okay,
And Gail's she's our web chair, and
oh, okay.
and she's just limited interest, but she really does love spreadsheets, so she's happy to do a class on spreadsheets.
Right.
And now that things are sort of clearing out a little bit on my plate, it's time for me to get back to Gail and talk about sending around a questionnaire to get a time established for us all. Jeanette, you still interested?
Yeah, I guess I would be if I'm around. Mhm.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
well, Rich, would that interest you at all?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll think about it.
Could
Okay.
it be, joined up with a luncheon? Like with other things we've done?
Well, it could be, but it's going to be online, so it would require
Oh,
having their
Different, yeah.
yeah.
oh, then it would be better probably in the evening, you know, to,
We can only dance at the luncheon. That's all we can do. We can't.
Yeah. It's really a Zoom.
okay.
Yeah.
You're not gonna work without the case. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. I was talking to my son.
Oh,
Sorry.
Jessica, we can only see a piece.
Yeah, I don't know why. When I got kicked out and I came back in, it won't show my picture, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Well, we know you're there.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a update on digital equity grant. Report on the MCOA membership meeting. It was really fascinating for me because I got a lot of interesting sources, but they're really probably not stuff that most people are going to want to care about. And if something comes up that I think would be useful for us to know about, us all to know about, I'll bring it up at a later meeting. Okay. Yeah.
Was it a huge amount of information, or was there an agenda so that we could, or a quick little synopsis so we would
There was an agenda, and there was a huge amount of information. There were
Oh,
basically
and
4 speakers talking
Okay.
about 4 different programs
Mhm.
and giving information about how to access. For instance, the data that the health data that we talked about at an NDS meeting, there was
Uh-huh.
the group that's done that has created individual collections for individual, document for each individual town, so the
Wow.
town can get its own couple of pages of information on data. And there were questions about how good the data was, but this particular talk indicated just what the data was that was used, and it is pretty good data.
And for example, our Shutesbury Board of Health have access to that information?
Well, I have access to it now because I know how to get it, and I would think the Board of Health would like it, and I should probably make sure that they know about it.
Yeah,
They
yeah. and
probably already do, but that's a
Seems
good.
like, seems like that would be a great service the COA is at least attempting to provide, even if they don't need it.
Yep. I'll talk to Kat Hilton about that.
Okay, what's next on the agenda?
Unanticipated business, which takes us to the library request for funding.
And that's for the passes, or that's for the big funding?
It's for the passes. We've done the big funding. Mary Ann
Okay.
gotten the big funding.
Terrific.
And I hate to say this, but I was looking for Mary Ann's email about it, which I didn't print off. And I can't find it. So I don't know how much she's asking for. Jessica, but by any chance, did you get a copy of that?
Yep, I'm looking it up. Hold on.
Okay. And while she's looking for it, can I take the opportunity to invite everybody here? Some of you are already Village Neighbors members, but on June 22nd, we have our annual board meeting, which we hold publicly. It tends to be a much shorter meeting, thankfully, where we just kind of review the various committees we have. And after that, we're going to have a couple legislator people and Jason Maloney from LifePath, who's working with us in many ways. And then after that, a very good lunch and some music as well at the Shutesbury Athletic Club. And that will be actually from 11 to 12. We are providing, if anyone has technical questions, you can bring your devices and maybe get some things answered. And then at 12 o'clock, we'll have our meeting. And then soon after that, a good lunch. It's Jen who cooks for the Shutesbury Athletic Club all the time.
Well, that's good.
Greek
Yeah.
chicken and chickpeas, and yeah, she does a really nice job. And Brian Bender is the musician, and he's He's wonderful. So you're all invited.
So who are the
And,
legislators?
I think Joe Comerford will be there.
Okay.
I think Aaron Saunders will be there. Is there one other person who I'm blanking on the name? And then, of course, Jason Maloney, who I put in that, not governmental necessarily, but someone who can make things happen more than, the regular person.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Sure.
Jess,
And-
have you found,
I do. I have the numbers. She's looking for a total of $695, $420 for the butterfly museum passes and $275 for the Mocha passes, which is the same amount as it was last year. It hasn't changed from that.
so
Something that hasn't gone up in the world.
so that's $395, eh?
$695,
Okay, so what am I missing?
$420 for the butterfly,
275.
and $275 for Mocha.
I think I'm not hearing something.
It's 425 for the butterfly place and
Gotcha.
275 for Mass Mocha.
I misheard how much the
Yeah.
butterfly place cost.
I know I've enjoyed that Mass Mocha pass more than once. So, and it's a bit expensive to go there. Are we ever provided data on how much these get used, or we just safely assume that they do?
They get used a lot.
Terrific. Then if we
I
can
mean,
do it.
there's competition for Mass Mocha. You want
Yeah.
to in early to get it.
Mhm,
And I think the butterfly gets regular use.
mhm.
People
And
think
there's a
reg-
limit to those, I think. How many people can use the wings one? If I remember
I
on
think
the
it's 4.
part. Yeah.
I think it's 4. I'm not sure though.
We could always, if we're feeling nervous about, doing the Gazette and other costs, we could always offer half, like we've been, or just a little bit less.
We could, I'm sorry, I'm just writing down, which I think is a good idea to ask Marianne. Marianne needs to be in a situation of providing evidence that these things are well used.
Right.
And she's got the numbers because I have in the past. Okay.
Right, but colloquially, we see that, yes, it's been utilized, so we should just assume that it is.
Yeah.
And decide whether we want to provide the whole amount or give 500 or half or the whole thing. Did I say that already?
Okay, we have $27.95 remaining in the grant, and we have not received our invoice from Foot Care yet, and there'll be another invoice for June. So we need to assume 800, although I don't think it's going to be that much, but it might be.
For 2 months?
Yeah,
Well,
Okay.
we have a donation account to fall back on as well.
Mhm.
we do.
We can roll that right back into the bills for the Foot Care.
We could. Absolutely. That would be a good idea. So what do we think in terms of if we assume the donation account is probably going to take care of all or most of the 2 remaining Foot Care by Nurses session, and we're talking about $27.95 to last us until we get the second half of the new grant, the new fiscal year grant, which last year came on October? It came late.
October. Yep, October.
Which means I think we should save as much as we can of the $27.95 that's in the fiscal.
We also don't know what the next grant will be with all the federal cuts. You don't know what it's
Right.
going to end up being in the end.
Yeah, the legislature did pass an increase in the per person, per senior money that we get, but not a big not big increase, but at least $5, if not $10 increase. But that may not still be around when they actually come to giving us the money. So I think that's a wise recall. So what do you think we could safely offer Marianne for passes? Jeanette?
I was just gonna say, what about 5? I mean, she just had a very successful tag sale. And you know, losing $200 isn't gonna make her weep. But at least we're giving a nice big chunk of it. One could also say we've managed to give it in the past with costs we've had that are higher than they're going to, I mean, they're going to be creeping down incrementally with the change in the foot care. So maybe we should just, I don't know.
And you can also find out how much they're being used too. You talked about that. So we can find that out also.
Susan, would you be in a position to ask that?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Easily. Okay, I'm just thinking, Jessica, do we have an estimate of how much, let's say that we don't get the grant. Let's say we're running on from July to October again without the grant. 4 months, 3 months, 4 months. How much would the foot care clinic at the new rate cost us?
Well,
If people are actually paying $10 a head?
so how many,
can serve 8 people? Is
Okay.
that right? More. So $80
Yeah.
if everybody's kicking in the amount.
Yeah, so that would be 3,200, right? 320.
320.
320. Yeah, boy, that would really help our budget.
As opposed to
Absolutely.
1,200. It's a quarter. It's a quarter of the amount.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're actually possibly in a good position to give the full amount then. And one could say, well, it's only $200 difference.
Well, I think it would also be acceptable for us to tell Marianne, we do not know how big what the size of our grant will be.
Mhm.
So we're being cautious right now. You know,
Yeah. So,
in the past, we have paid for the passes because we had leftover money that we wanted to use up. Not the case anymore.
okay. So just before we vote, what do we think about $500? Does that make sense, or should we go even like half? Does anyone have any strong feelings about that?
so I'm looking at the numbers. No, of course, we don't know exactly. I just took the 880 for the last 2 months for the nurses by foot care, without any donations. The 750 for Village Neighbors, and 320 approximately if nobody donates for the new girl, but I don't see that happening. That would leave us roughly $1,310. We've also said that we would give Village Neighbors extra in the event that we had extra money left over. So
Yes.
that's a lot of promises.
I think Village Neighbors, considering what we get from them, is a higher priority than Marianne's passes.
I agree.
Although I do love the passes.
Yes.
So what do we think about half or 500?
Or 400, which wouldn't be.
Well, we could say we would donate. Well, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, because if we do 400, then the Butterfly Museum passes are only $20 more at 420.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We believe, maybe we should just make it 425 and say we believe in butterflies.
Well, yeah. It's very much a senior activity, all the grandparents taking grandchildren.
And you know what? I'm gonna make a motion that we
Okay.
give Marianne, we can discuss it after I say it, but how about $400, which is more than half, but not the full amount, to pay for most of at least one of the passes, or we could go with 425 for real. Anyone want to improve that or add to it or second it, and then we can move on.
I guess I have a
oh,
feeling that it's better just to give her the money and let her decide where she wants to
Oh,
put
of course. I was joking. I mean, let's just say $400.
it. Okay.
So $400 to support however passes in whichever way she would like. How is that?
sounds good to me.
Sounds
Okay.
good to me.
Someone say second, please.
I second. Makepeace
All right.
second.
So now we have to vote. And Mary Jo, what do you think? How about we do thumbs?
Okay, no, we're gonna have a
Oh, we
formal
can't. We
vote.
can't do thumbs. It's just she had her.
You can't see me.
Recorded,
You
you
can't
can't
see me.
see.
Yes.
We
Sorry,
wouldn't
I
do
was
that.
muted for a second.
Right.
Johnson, I.
Okay. I did-
Makepeace eye.
Okay. Jessica?
Aye.
Makepeace eye.
Okay. Millinger, aye.
Stockton, aye.
Okay. Okay, do we have any other unanticipated business to talk about tonight? Something tells me that Jeanette wants to get the heck out of this meeting.
I do have a little bit of a headache and I want to put an ice pack. I've been sort of doing that a lot. Have you seen me doing that a lot?
I did. I just wanted to mention, I know that Susan knows, we were helping that man at the lake we had talked about, that was looking for help through visiting neighbors and through Council on Aging and Life Path. And his friend emailed us the other day to let us know that John passed away. Sadly, he fell and broke his hip. And after surgery, I guess his body just couldn't handle recovering. And he let us know that he passed away and wanted to thank us for everything that, all the advice we gave him and the hours we spent either emailing him or talking to him or looking up information for him. And I thought that was really nice that he let us know, and I was very thankful for what we did for him.
Wow, that's great.
Thank you, Jessica. That I agree with that, and it was important. It was important to hear from him. I think he's going to let us know about any kind of celebration of life, and I would like to go if I could when we know that, because we spent as you say, we spend a lot of time. We never got to see him, but we spent a lot. Thank you. Rich, do you have any questions of us before we call it quits?
No, you guys handle all this stuff really well, and I just chime in when I can.
Okay. Then I think we will, we have a motion to adjourn. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second, Stockton seconds.
All in favor? Mary Jo?
Johnson, I.
Makepeace
Jessica?
eye.
Millinger, aye.
Stockton, aye.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Very
And Rich,
good.
for joining us tonight. We'll hope you will come back next month.
Very much so.
We will.
Join us, just let us know.
Okay, I need a date.
Oh, we always meet on the
Third,
Second,
second Wednesday at 5:30.
It would be
That-
the 9th. July 9th.
July 9th, I won't be here.
okay.
Okay.
But we'll hope for August then. What is August?
August seems to be fine. Let's see. Yep. Okay.
August 6th would be the August meeting.
Okay.
No, August 13th. I'm sorry.
13th. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Thanks.
Thank-
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Nice to meet everybody.
And I need to turn off the recording. Sorry, I'm sorry, Jessica. What did you say?
I just said, sorry about my Zoom malfunction. I don't know what's going on with it.
Not to worry.
I got kicked out and it was just a mess after that. So
That's living with Zoom, working with Zoom is always a challenge.
it is, absolutely. Have a good night, ladies and Rich.
Good night,
Nice
ladies.
seeing you here.
Bye-bye, all.
Let's-
Yes, I want to